No, it's not cutting your head off.
Is it cutting my head off?
No.
Is it cutting my head off?
Alright. It looks like it's tilted down a little bit though.
Is it cutting my head off?
Okay.
Is it cutting
there
my
we go. I don't think it's cutting your head off.
Is it cutting my head off?
Alright. Can we introduce ourselves, Megan?
Okay. Hi.
Okay.
My name's Megan and this is my mother and her name's Nina.
Hi.
I was going to do a safety segment and then she's going to do a segment about her stuff.
Okay.
My turn first.
Yeah, you can start with your segment first, Megan.
Well, there's one thing that I need to tell you in case if you forget about it. If you ever want to have more air, you should always ask your parents to open your window or make the holes bigger, but not big enough that you can get out of them. Because that would be a pretty big fall if you made that do upstairs. And that would be bad because you would have to go to the hospital, and it's pretty boring to me.
Yeah, you didn't like the hospital? No.
But at least someone got to see my brain.
That's right, you'll get to see your brain soon. You get to see the films from the neurologist. Alright, that's probably a pretty loud sound, sweetie. Oh, can you do me a favor? Can you go turn off the fan? Because it makes our voices sound weird.
Oh, so no. Here.
Yeah.
But which way is off?
Towards the 0.
Okay, I'll have to turn the light on for that.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you're not looking at my stomach, but yeah, it looks like it's pointed down for the camera. I've got a little bit different of a setup this week. But welcome to episode 18 of This Old Knit. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine on Ravelry and Pinterest. And we are coming to you. Thank you.
When it was going towards the 0 that way.
It gets bigger. It gets louder. Because it goes faster.
Yeah.
That's alright. You did it right. You got it turned off. And we are coming to you from Megan's room.
Shush. Quiet.
Oh, were you not done with your segment?
Yeah, I was trying to do it.
I'm sorry. I was introducing us. Okay, go ahead.
I already did introduce.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, the second thing is that if it's too bright outside, you might not have sunglasses. That's not a very important thing. But you should make sure you don't fall off a bed that's as big as a giant. But they're not even real.
That's true. They're not real.
So I don't even know if you know what one looks like.
Okay. Is that it?
And can you tell me them a few safety segments too?
I don't really have any safety segments prepared.
Well, you know about safety. You've seen a lot of people get hurt before by not safety stuff.
That's true. But not recently. I mean, I can't think of anything. All that comes to mind is the window stuff right now.
Oh, because that was the only...
Because that was the most recent thing. Should we tell people what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About me.
Yeah.
I should tell them about Meg falling into the window.
Okay. Yeah, so on Saturday night, Megwin, after her bath, went upstairs to get pajamas, and she decided to open the window. We don't really know what happened because we weren't up here, but she fell through the window.
Can I tell them what really happened?
Yeah, you can tell them what really happened.
Well, I was trying to get a bit of air, but I pushed so hard that I broke the window, I broke the screen, and I fell through it, and I had to go to the hospital.
That's right.
And then when I woke up, I forgot where I was, and then I asked where I was, and they told me at the hospital, and they said I've never been there before, but I have.
Just when you were born.
Yeah.
Yep. And Megan was there for 4 days, and now she's home, and she has a broken clavicle.
Ow!
Yeah.
It's right in It's right up here where my brain is.
No, your clavicle is this.
Ah.
Remember
Well,
that? And then you have
it's
two
right here.
skull fractures. Those are where your brain is.
And the skull fractures are right up here or on my skull.
Uh-huh.
It kind of hurts so much that it makes me cry so much that I can't breathe.
Yeah.
But I kind of breathe so big, like, it makes me crazy. It's like I'm going to blow the birthday candle.
Yeah. You did a really good job with your breathing at the hospital. I was very proud of you with your slow breathing. It was amazing.
Yeah. But I didn't really like that they had to poke me.
I know. But you did an amazing job. You were very brave.
I wish they did some other way.
Yeah. Sometimes those are the things they have to do. Okay, sweetie. Shall I share my knitting now?
Well, I'm not quite
You can
done.
stay with me for that.
Well, I'm not quite done with my segment. There's
Okay.
a lot of safety stuff.
Okay. Well, maybe what we can do is we can record your safety segment and then we'll stop the camera and we'll start it again for the knitting. So that way we can put the safety segment at the end in case if some people are all done watching it after the knitting. How about that?
Oh. So they thought it was the end.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. So tricky. Okay. What else do you want to say about your safety segment?
And there's one more thing I'd like to say before the knitting. Before the knitting. And, well, if there's no mother and father you have around you, if you ever fall from a window, it's going to be hard to know which button to press if ever to drive a car or to the hospital.
That's true.
You won't know where it is if you've never gone there.
Right. But we called 911 and had people come and take you to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I was taken in the ambulance.
That's right.
Because I was so little when I first went there that we couldn't even remember where it was.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, it's Mommy's turn.
Okay. Thank you, sweetie.
I'm just going to move on.
Okay. That works.
Maybe I can just...
You can stay here if you want.
I'm just going to take off.
Oh!
Whoa. A little nap.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of This Old Knit. I had Megwin's segment fully recorded, and despite my best efforts, I did not get my podcast completely done. I'm just going to adjust you all ever so slightly. There we go. So for continuity's sake, I'm wearing the same shirt, but it has been multiple days since I recorded the first piece. I had quite a bit of work stuff that I needed to do this week, because a lot of companies in the US, their fiscal year end actually ends in June, and then July starts the new year, so kind of the first week of July is typically busy for a lot of finance people, and I do accounting. So I was very busy, but now I have a little bit of downtime, and I'm kind of working from home. Well, I am working from home this week just because of Megwin's accident, and I just wanted to make sure that I was here and available for if the kids needed me, and just for my own mental state. I needed a little break. My stuff is a little bit far back, and I am still kind of working from home, so I'm between meetings right now. So I thought I'd record a little piece, and then break for a meeting, and then record another piece. So hopefully that way I'll get full time through. You might hear Joshua crying downstairs, so he knows that I'm up here. Yesterday I was able to work most of the day up here. I came upstairs before he woke up, so he actually didn't know I was here, and he did a lot better, I think, because he thought I left the house, and he was fine. But when he knows that I'm here, he wants to be with me, which makes sense. He's a baby. So So I apologize if you hear him crying. And I just realized that I have my finished object over across the room. But I do have a lot of stuff to share with you. I know it's been 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks maybe, because I think I was about ready to record my next episode when Megwin fell. So yeah, I didn't get to record that week, and I didn't get to record last weekend, so here we are. So while we were in the hospital, I actually got quite a bit of knitting done, but I didn't do very much complicated stuff. Reason being is that since Megwin had some skull fractures, we had to keep the lights really dim or off completely, which meant I just had to go with whatever ambient light was in the room. At one point when we were in ICU, I was sitting in kind of one of those gliders next to the bed, and so I was able to have the bathroom door open behind me and have the light on in there, and that didn't bother her. So I could see enough to work on my blanket. So I got quite a bit done on my blanket, and I found out that I can do a mitered corner in the dark, so that must mean that I'm on autopilot in this knitting at this point. So I cannot recommend this pattern enough, especially in times of stress. If I had not grabbed my knitting and taken it with me, I would have been crazy, or I would have probably yelled or screamed at some doctor or nurse. There was a lot of bad communication while we were in the hospital, and yeah, I'll go into it later for those of you who are just here for the knitting. But I did do quite a bit. So I think I had just joined a new ball, so I did, you know, like a side. This is the mitered corner I did in the dark, and then I did another side. So it helped keep me awake. At one point I was awake for 36 hours straight. This and coffee, of course. But yeah, it was a good soothing knit, and I was happy that I had it. So that's that. That, if you are just joining me, is the 10 Stitch Blanket by Frankie Brown. The yarn that I'm using is Cascade Eco Duo. It's a wool alpaca blend, and this colorway I think is called Storm or Thunderstorm, something like that. Yep, so that's what I did with that one. And then I am just going to sneak away for 1 second. Back! The other thing I worked on was my zilver shawl. So this pattern, which I forgot to look up, I will see if I can do that really quickly for you. This pattern is very simple but interesting, so it did keep my interest, which was nice. It is by Lisa Mutch, M-U-T-C-H. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I did it in Wool and Vine yarns. It's the blitzed base, and this is a one-of-kind colorway called Space Wizard. So yeah, I was able to do a little bit beyond the pattern, so it's easy enough that I figured out kind of the, what would you say, the sequence of increases and stuff. So it calls for going up to this area here, where there are 5 repeats of this pattern, and then to do this straight part and then bind off. But I wanted to use my whole skein of yarn, so I actually went up to 6 and then I bound off. And the way I blocked it, unfortunately, it's a little uneven on the point, but whatever. So I really love it. I did not trim my ends so that I could show you that this is how much yarn I had left out of this skein. That is it. So I don't have anything for my blanket, but I'm happy that I used every bit of the yarn. And then I, of course, had my cast on tail. The only complaint I have is that because I didn't do a garter tab, because it doesn't call for that in the pattern, it actually has this weird little hump in the middle on the top. And maybe that will disappear when I wear it. It probably will. Or I can just kind of roll that bit down a little bit. So it is a very nice size. Oops. So there you go. I'm happy that I knit it. I don't know that I would knit it again. Just because of that weird little hump thing. Clearly I must like things that have a garter tab there, because that makes it a little bit more straight along the top. But it's nice. I like it. It'll look pretty, I think, with like a white shirt or a black shirt. Something more plain. So this is probably a little bit much with the stripes. But the yarn is wonderful. This was my first time knitting with Vine yarns, and Kristen from the Yarngasm podcast actually does the dyeing for this, and I can't recommend it enough. It's super soft. The dye job is really wonderful. There's a lot of depth to the color, so it was a joy to knit it and see just the different colors passing through my hands. And yeah, that's kind of it. I will be putting it as a finished object in the Pal-Cal, which is going on in the Actually Knitting group for the Actually Knitting podcast. It is basically that you can use either a yarn or a design or a bag or stitch markers that are created by a podcaster. And Michelle does it. This is her second year now. It's going on for 3 months, so I'm actually hoping to do a couple of different entries, but this is my first one. No, this is my second one, because my spring garden tee actually counted as well. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. It's still a slight bit damp, so I'm actually going to take it off. But I'm very happy to have a finished object. So this is what I worked on the most when I was in the hospital. And I'm going to use Amy's technique from Knitting in Circles. She rolls her shawls, and then she said they don't get weird creases from folding. So I will put that back on the drying rack and start the fan up again. I actually just washed it this morning and it's 90% dry, so I'm very happy about that. It's raining outside even, so it's very wet. That's all I worked on as far as that goes. Sorry for the dinging. Like I said, I do have my work computer on behind us, and it's reminding me that I have a meeting in 15 minutes. So I had a couple of acquisitions and some packages that I got from different people. So I will show you the acquisition first. And I'm going to try to get the crinkling. I'm going to just rip the band-aid off here. I meant to take this out, I'm sorry. So I wanted to make a sweater for Joshua, and I really, really love No Maker's tweed yarn. That reminds me, I have another whip. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place today, people. It's because I just started it. So I started it today. This will be my next entry for the Pal-Cal, and also for the Purposeful Stash Along, which is happening on the Little Bobbins podcast. So about 2 years ago, during Valentine's Day, I bought some of the limited edition Scruffy Gnome in the Strawberries colorway from No Makers. And I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I really loved the color. It was this really, really pretty pink, which I'll show you in just a second, and I've shown it before. And then that next Christmas, I bought a skein of her Cookies limited edition holiday colorway, also a tweed, because I love tweed, as do many people. So I looked at those two together, and I thought I wanted to make something for Megwin with those two yarns. So I wanted to do a striped sweater, so I picked the Little Honey sweater. It's this one. So it's a 3/4 sleeve pullover, and it has little pockets, which you can't really see very well in my printout. But it's a really basic, just striped pullover, and this is the kind of stuff that Megwin wears all the time. So I thought it would be perfect for her. So I finally cast that on last night. And I'm making the size 4-5 because Megwin is very small. She only weighs 29 pounds. And actually her chest measurement is only 1 inch off of my baby's. She's very, very tiny. So here's what I have so far. And it is working out even better than I thought it was going to on the stripes. Isn't that beautiful? I really love it. I'm super, super happy with how it's coming out. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on. I just kind of felt like with her accident and everything, it just made me really want to make her something. And, I don't know, kind of like wrapping one's children up in a knitted hug, if you will. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using size 5 needles. I'm almost to the point where I think I can have it on 1 needle. The neckline was too small to do that, so I had it on 2. But I think I'm going to switch to just my Addie lace clicks. This other one is an Addie sock rocket, which normally I really love, but the point is a little bit blunt for this size needle. For like doing the make one rights, when you have to knit into the front of the stitch and it's all twisted, it's really hard to get it in there if it's not a kind of sharper pointed needle. So once I can, I'm going to switch to just the Addie lace clicks, which I absolutely love. Those are like my favorite of my interchangeable needles. I don't know if you can see the difference between those 2 points. But one is significantly pointier than the other and also more tapered. So, yeah. So that is my other whip that I have going on right now. I also will probably cast on something for my husband because I need to get started on all of his winter gear for when he's going to go out and bushcraft in the winter, because he's going to try to do that this winter. So I have to finish his gloves, which I showed quite a while ago, but they were kind of in hibernation. I need to figure out something on the pattern. I need to adjust it a little bit to fit his hand. And then I need to make him a neck warmer, a hat, which I think I'm going to do a bankhead hat, and a sweater at some point, but I might wait a little bit on the sweater. I'm going to get all of the accessories done first, and then we'll figure out the sweater at that point. So, back to acquisitions. No Makers had an update before she went to Stitches Midwest, and it was going to be her last one for a while, and there's a colorway that I have been trying to get, and I always seem to miss it, called Gnomesome Dove. It again is tweed, but it's all these really, really pretty colors that I think will look great on Baby Josh. So I got 2 skeins of it. I think I will only need 1 and maybe a little bit of the second one, but I figured whatever was left, I actually can use it for my husband because these are kind of his colors as well. So here it is. It is kind of a gray blue, cream into tan, brown, and this harvest gold. And then there's also some olive green, which you can kind of see right there. And it has the really nice tweedy flecks. They're the neutral flecks, the brown, cream, and black flecks, which I really like those more than the multicolor. Not that I don't like the multicolor, I do. But in kind of some of these more subtle shades, I like those neutral flecks. I like with the bright colored flecks for the color of the yarn itself to be bright as well. I think that then it looks kind of more confetti-ish. So I'm really excited about those. And I will probably start that a little bit closer to fall just because babies change in size a lot more. Megwin's a little more stable in her sizing at this point, which is why I'm doing her sweater now. And here's the card for No Makers. And there's the website. If you want to check it out, I highly recommend her yarn. I love Amanda's yarn. And she has a podcast as well. She collects Legos, so sometimes she talks about Legos and shows those. She talks about, like, she's into comic books and stuff like that. So it's kind of a fun podcast to watch. So that was my acquisition. And then I got a package from Yola, and I won't share her Ravelry name because I don't know if she wants me to. And in it, she sent me this really fun postcard. And I had mentioned in Molly's group, a homespun house, that there was someone that was talking about a butterscotch hot chocolate, and I love hot chocolate. So I said, oh my goodness, you people in Britain are so lucky. You have all this really great tea. You have lots of good hot chocolate. And she said, well, I will send you some. Just send me your address. So I did, and she got me some of the butterscotch hot chocolate, and I've already drunk one. And then some hazelnut hot chocolate. And then she also sent me tea. And Yola, I actually drank quite a lot of that when I was in the hospital with Megwin, and it was so nice because all they had was like Lipton tea, and that stuff is gross. So it was nice to actually have some warm beverages that weren't coffee, that were delicious and comforting. So I really appreciate it. It helped me so much. So she sent me buttermint tea, which is one that I had heard about on the Tilly Trout podcast. But I have drunk all that. So she also sent me blackcurrant and rhubarb. I have had one of these. And intensely fiery ginger and rhubarb, which I have not had any of yet, but I will soon. She also sent me a package of shortbread, which we ate all of in the hospital as well. And then she sent me some of these fun little butterscotch candies, and I haven't had any of those yet either. So thank you so much. That was so sweet of you, and like I said, it really helped a lot. So I am going to send her some mini skeins in return, and some teas that I enjoy, but I haven't had the time to wind mini skeins yet. But I'm going to take some time off of work after we get through this busy time just to get the house back in order. It was complete chaos because we were basically, I was coming home at night, sleeping, and going back to the hospital as soon as they would let me in with the baby. So the house is a total wreck. And then I immediately went into working all the time. So now that Megwin is up and running around and stuff, I will maybe have time to do that this weekend and get things back in order. And just kind of have time to just relax and take a breath. Yeah. So that is that. And then the other package I actually just got today. So I won one of the giveaways on a homespun house. It was for a knit-along that we did. Terrible. I don't even remember what the knit-along was. But Molly just recently drew for it because she was busy with her new baby, as she should be. And I won. I won the yarn. So she sent me a fun little package along with the yarn, which was very, very sweet. And that came today. So this is the yarn that I won. It's from Your Mom Knits. It's the Octo Sport in the Scara colorway. So I think this might be really nice mittens for Megwin, maybe mittens and a hat, because it doesn't require a lot of yardage for her to do mittens, and her hats don't either, and she loves wearing mittens and hats. She loves it. So she would be super excited about these colors. She grabbed the yarn out and said that it was very, very pretty. So that might be what that becomes. I don't know yet. She also sent me some of these truffles, which I have had the cherry brandy flavor, but not the original flavor, which was kind of a cocoa cream. I had one, as you can see, and it was good. Because I'm trapped upstairs in the playroom right now, pretending I'm not here. And then she was so sweet. She remembered my doggies and sent some dog treats. They're going to be so spoiled. They had a hard time when we were gone. So that's nice. And she sent me, it looks like a honey almond chocolate. And 2.5 millimeter carbons, which I haven't tried carbons, so I'm excited to try these since everybody's kind of talking about them. And I don't have, I think I have one 2.5 millimeter needle, and it's for magic looping also, and it's a Addy sock rocket. So it'll be fun to see what these are like, the carbons. And she sent me 2 of her brooches, and these are going on some stuff right away. I have one bag that I keep. I have a Yarngasm button, so I'm going to put one on there, and probably one on my other project bag I always carry with me. I only have 2 project bags. And then there is a little set of stitch markers, it looks like, or at least a progress keeper. I see at least one little yarn progress keeper in there. I hadn't opened it yet because, like I said, it just came and then I had to grab my stuff and come up here. So I haven't explored it all, but I'm very excited. So thank you, Molly, very much. It arrived safely, and I have some stuff to send you back, so I will send that as soon as I can. And yeah, I didn't have a lot more to share at this point. Despite it having been so much time, I was busy taking care of my family. So yeah, I will say that one of the things that came in so handy when we were in the hospital is since Megan was probably 2 years old, have taught her to slow breathe, kind of yogi breathing, because I several years ago used to practice yoga much more intensely. Like I would do 2-hour yoga classes. I practiced a combination of Forest and Iyengar yoga. So that's been our strategy for helping her to calm down. Like if she's having, not a temper tantrum, but if she's frustrated about something or really sad about something, we make her breathe, and we wouldn't talk to her about it until she breathes and calms herself. And then we say, okay, now we can talk about it after we slow breathe. And we would have her hold our hands and slow breathe with us so that we could teach her. And I am so, so grateful that we did that, because throughout all of the stuff in the hospital, she kept coming back to that. She kept saying, can you slow breathe with me? I want to breathe with my mom. I want to breathe with my dad. And that's how she kept herself under control. It got her through stuff where she was really scared. She had to get a lot of CAT scans, a lot of doctors coming in. She had multiple finger sticks for testing her hemoglobin and hematocrit levels, and people every hour coming in and shining flashlights in her eyes, which her eyes were very painful. There was one full day where she could not open her eyes at all, so she couldn't see, and she was very scared. And we did a lot of slow breathing, and I was so happy that she had that tool. And a lot of the doctors and nurses commented on how they were so impressed that she could do that deep breathing and bring herself back to calmness. So for parents out there, I would highly recommend teaching your children the slow breathing technique. And yeah, you just never know when it will come in handy. It was so great, and I'm glad that we've given her that tool and that it worked for her. So, not to end on a down note, but I do need to jump onto my next call, and I don't really have anything else to share with you. So, until next time, happy knitting, and spend some time enjoying the things that you love. Hopefully this weekend I will be back onto my regular podcasting schedule, but I wanted to get something out to you guys so that you would know that everything's okay, and I've missed sharing my stuff with all of you. So, as always, I can be reached on Ravelry. You can send me a PM if you want to chat. I'm always happy to exchange mini skeins if you want to swap mini skeins with me. I love doing that. I'm also happy to help if there are things like that you want from the US. Happy to figure something out there. And join our Ravelry group, because it's a lot of fun, and I like chatting with everybody and knowing what all of you are doing. So you can search in the groups section for This Old Knit and come and find us, because I think a lot more people watch on YouTube than are part of the Ravelry group. So until next time, be safe everybody, and I will talk to you soon. Alright, bye.